Back with Michael Moore, who's got a show on Broadway called The Terms of My Surrender. What's the show?
The show is 2 hours every night of me telling stories. We do some fun stuff on the stage. There's a game show every night where people can win prizes. But I talk about some of how some of the things I've been through in my life that stories nobody knows about, and then I talk about people who make a difference. Just how one person, nobody's from nowhere, as we're called, can come out of that, and because none of us are nobodies, and we don't live in nowheres, and so the show it's funny, it's very pointed politically, and by the end of the show, I'm handing out armbands and machetes, and we head over to Trump Tower. No, not really. It's a joke. It's a joke. But I believe that I belong to the majority in this country. And I think that people are still in despair since the election. So they come to this show, by the end of it, hopefully less despair and more ready to give them some of the things that we're all going to do.
You know, one of the things I've always found interesting about you from the time I first saw Roger and Me, and I've read a bunch of your books and I've seen your movies, is, you know, you have this very self-identification with where you're from. And I think that there's a certain critique of the kind of liberal elite from the right that can be very caricatured and wrong-headed and sort of unfair. But there is a such thing as this sort of bubble, right? I mean, Broadway audiences kind of epitomize that.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Right. I mean, I'm curious what that, what are you trying to tell that audience that's paying to see you on
Well,
Broadway?
I'm in the capital of liberal America here.
Right.
And liberal America and the Democratic Party didn't get us in the White House. Even though we're the majority, even though we had 3 million more votes, we hold no power tonight. So therefore, I've come to the place where our liberal establishment exists as a voice from the Midwest. And also, I come to the city that gave us Donald J. Trump. And every night
Just a few blocks away.
Yes, I'm a few blocks from Trump Tower, where he grew up in Queens.
Right.
And I asked this New York audience, what the
did you do?
You know, well, because if Trump had come from Flint, Michigan, I don't think I could even show my face on this show. I'd be so embarrassed that I didn't stop that years ago. Why didn't New Yorkers stop this?
You know, it's funny you say that, because one of my theories about Donald Trump is that you actually can't understand him unless you understand the racial politics of New York City specifically, and the racial politics of crime in the 80s and 90s, and the idea that the city was being destroyed, and Wilding and the Central Park Jogger. That is the crucible that he was formed in.
Right.
And it's interesting you talk about that, because people think, well, you know, he is very much a New York figure and a New York politician.
Well, yes, and grew up in the same borough as Archie Bunker.
That's right.
That's where All in the Family was set.
That's
over there.
Exactly right.
And so you're right about the racial element of this, where to Trump, it's those people. You know, and it's
and New Yorkers like to tell themselves we're in the most tolerant city in the world. That's not New York politics, but it very much, there's a real tradition of that.
No, this is the city that gives us Fox News, the National Review. Rush Limbaugh started here on WABC. I can go down the whole list of how much redneck, conservative, right-wing politics has come out of New York City. So, but I used
You mean redneck there ironically?
I mean, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear.
I'm saying that, yes, but they, that's what I'm saying.
Michael Moore, it's called The Terms of My Surrender if you're in New York. How long is it running?
It's running till October 22nd.
All right.
And I made a deal with the Schubert organization that the balcony is $29, because you know how Broadway is so expensive.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I want it. So
that's great. Fire up StubHub.
Come to the show. I have a surprise guest that appears every night. If you would come on one night and after the show.
It's no longer going to be a surprise, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I'll run over. I'll run over after the show.
Yes. Yes. If you'll do that, I would love it.
There.
And it'll be your Broadway debut.
That's also true.
And you could show Lin-Manuel what a real actor does.
Michael Moore, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Still to come, President Trump's millionaire Treasury Secretary is explaining why he wanted the federal government to subsidize his honeymoon. And tonight's Thing 1, Thing 2 starts next.